We got Dixie in our veins, Texas in our heart. We got heavy metal soul that will never let go and never change who we are. Half cocked and loaded like the barrel of a gun. Been left all alone to fend for ourselves. That's why we're the bastard sons. We're the bastard sons of Texas. With Dixie in our veins. The bastard sons of Texas. We never gonna change.
What's up, everybody? Kenny Gunter here with my new podcast, Hell's Half Acre. It's only my second podcast. Deal with me as I bear with me as I kind of figure this shit out and start making it better, hopefully. You know, the first one I did had pretty much zero production value and didn't take any show notes, and the content was kind of meh. So I'm going to try and do better today. So I'm just asking you to bear with me. For those of you guys that were not with me in the first show, just going to give you a little bit about myself. My name is Kenny Gunter, native Fort Worth Texan. That's either going to piss some of you off or some of you are going to be yelling "fuck yeah" right about now. Dad was a retired Fort Worth cop. Mom was in insurance. Yeah, pretty typical blue collar upbringing. Like most typical Texans, been in the oil business for over 10 years as a landman, doing acquisitions and research for oil companies that are looking to drill wells, determine ownership of mineral rights, and who's supposed to be getting royalties and shit. I'm in the process of getting my real estate license, so I can start working on selling people homes and property and ranches and within the town that I love so much. And let's see, what else? Graduated from Penn State last year with a finance degree, so despite my bad mouth and my goofy looks, I actually know a little bit about finances and investing and whatnot, and got a few things up my sleeve because on top of all of it, I'm pretty much a serial entrepreneur. Had some good times, had some bad times, made some money, lost some money, I'm sure, like everybody. So this podcast is going to be a little bit of everything. You know, my random shenanigans, talking about real estate and general shit within Fort Worth. Got an awful lot of Yankees moving in. And when I use the term Yankees, I'm talking about anybody that's from north of the Red River, west of the Rio Grande, and east of the Sabines. So pretty much if you're not from fucking Texas, you're a goddamn Yankee. So we still love you. But probably need to kind of help you guys out when you're moving here. It's probably a little bit of a culture shock. So it's one of the things that we want to do here. We kind of just bring you a little bit into what I do, you know, my life, my daily shit. You know, I'm sure there will be some entrepreneurial stuff kind of thrown into the mix, and you know, eventually, hopefully, we'll get to where we're interviewing some people and just kind of see where it goes. Hope you enjoy the ride. Before I get started with what I had kind of written down for today to kind of go over, just kind of wanted to talk about my son. It's kind of crazy. Turns 14 in October, and just went to court. His mom's moving to Houston for a job, and she is letting him stay here. So for the first time in 13 and a half years, I'm going to have custody of my son, not have to pay child support, and actually have a much more hands-on effect on his upbringing, which is going to be really fucking cool. You know, I've got 2 step kids that live with me that I treat as my own, but you know, it's still going to be really cool to have my own flesh and blood in the house. Something I didn't think would ever fucking happen, especially with the family courts in Texas. You know, if you're a dad, you've automatically got 2 strikes against you. But Yeah, we'll go over more of that shit later. That's more of a fucking rant, really. But first episode, we kind of covered a few, I'm going to call them rules for you bunch of fucking Yankees moving to Texas. Again, I say that with love, but there are going to be some rules moving to Texas because, let's face it, you're moving from wherever you're moving from for a reason. Maybe it's a job, maybe it's you're tired of the bullshit political climate where you're at. I don't know. You're moving here for a fucking reason. So we got to lay out a few ground rules because Texas is awesome and we want to keep it that way. First things first, and I have this fight constantly with my wife because she's from Nebraska. Beans do not go in fucking chili. End of the debate. If it's got beans, it's fucking stew. So I don't care what anybody else says, they're wrong. Beans do not go in chili. Okay? Pretty fucking simple. Down in Texas, but mainly a southern thing, everything's a Coke. So you go to a restaurant and say, hey, I want a Coke. And they'll ask you, what kind? And you'll say, Dr. Pepper. That's normal. You're probably calling it pop or soda. Everything here's a Coke. So don't be surprised if you order an actual Coca-Cola and say Coke, and they ask you what kind, thinking you may mean a Sprite. Everything here's a Coke. Here's one that I really, really can't stand. The left lane on the interstate, that's for passing people. Okay? I'm in my big diesel 4-wheel drive truck hauling ass 85 miles an hour to wherever I'm going. Get your fucking Prius out of the left lane. Okay? Just do yourself a favor, do us all a favor, don't cause a wreck. The left lane is just for passing, so move over, please. Unless your Prius is going 100 and a 60, get over. Just do it. Barbecue. We know this is a very regional one. Everybody's got their own barbecue. First of all, if it's good barbecue, it doesn't need fucking sauce. No sauce needed. And in Texas, beef is where it's at. Brisket, beef ribs. Pork's good. I love making pulled pork and pork shoulder and all that shit. But at the end of the day, in Texas, beef brisket, beef ribs are fucking barbecue in Texas. That's just the way it is. And last of this set of rules, In-N-Out can suck a fat dick. Whataburger is the fucking man. Don't get me wrong, I like In-N-Out, but if I've got to choose one, it's not going to be In-N-Out. Whataburger is way better. Alright, so get over it. Just so you know, there are a few In-N-Outs here. There are some. There's actually one a couple miles down from my house. But Whataburger's king, especially in Texas. So we'll cover some more rules of moving to Texas later. I'll see if I can't try and cover at least a few every episode, kind of keep it fun and light and airy. But I want to move on to the name of the podcast, which I named Hell's Half Acre. Well, the name stems back from the old cowboy days, the late 1800s. There are a few Hell's Half Acres. Seems like most of your big kind of cowboy towns had them. But the one in Fort Worth has been, it's kind of infamous. So infamous to the point that it was also known as the Bloody Third Ward, as an actual voting district back in like the 1870s, 1880s. It was a place in current downtown Fort Worth, by the convention center, where all of life's degenerates would come to gamble, chase women, shoot motherfuckers. I mean, it was the kind of shit you would see in a cowboy movie, where just all the rowdy shit happens. That's where it happened here in Fort Worth. I mean, we're talking, big time outlaws like, Sam Bass, big time outlaw, died before he was even 30 in a shootout. used to come here all the time. Doc Holliday used to come in. Bat Masterson. I think Wyatt Earp's actually been said to have been out here. I mean, it's almost... Yeah, I think it ended up being a total of like 2.5 total acres. I'll have to go back and check the map and find out for sure. And it was full of nothing but brothels and saloons and gambling halls and just all the good, degenerate shit that, you know, you want to see. What kind of made it famous, though, was it's kind of made to where it was the first thing people saw when they were coming in off Cattle Drive, coming from the south side of town. And it was, man, I'm sure they were tired from being on the trail, so they wanted to go out and let off some steam and drink some whiskey. And that's where they went. And so I figured it'd be kind of cool, give the name of the podcast some kind of history. You know, I thought about like Panther City or something. You know, we'll have to go over that at some other time. But, you know, Panther is kind of the official, unofficial mascot, I guess, of Fort Worth. It's on the police badges and stuff. But this town's got a lot of cool history. And I'm going to see if I can't kind of dabble into some of that as we progress. The fuckers are going to make me do research, make me sound like I know what I'm talking about. But that's my job, not yours. Your job is to listen, enjoy, tell your friends about this crazy Texan that cusses too much and talks about real estate and oil and gas shit. Now, what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and tie some of my social media to kind of what we're talking about on the podcast. So if you're not already, follow me on Instagram at _Oil Gypsy, and that's OILGYPSY _ and on Twitter at Oil Gypsy, spelled the exact same way. I'm on Facebook too. I don't know offhand what my super quick and easy handle is, but Twitter's at Oil Gypsy, Instagram is at _Oil Gypsy _ and what I mean by kind of linking the two together is I'm going to talk a little bit about one of the very, very common architecture styles that we're going to see in Texas. And that's ranch style. Very, very common out here. Just mainly, a lot of it's because of the heat, but they tend to be a very wide, spread out, one-story home. You're going to see them a lot more out in the country. As you get into the suburbs, you're getting a little bit more of that kind of modern track home built. So if you get out towards, you know, Justin, Weatherford, Aledo, and the older parts of town, some parts, old Fort Worth out there, you know, kind of towards TCU, you're going to see the ranch homes going to be very, very common. You're going to probably see, if it's within city limits, on a good half-acre lot, and this damn thing's going to damn near stretch from lot line to lot line. I mean, they're really wide. I mean, we're talking 2,500, 2,800 square foot, one-story house. I mean, they're huge. Tend to be very asymmetrical, and by that I mean, you know, they're not a square. They tend to be like a U-shaped floor plan or like an L shape, you know, and they're very open and airy on the inside. Not a ton of walls. I mean, they tend to transition well, so they're really, really good for entertaining, keeping on little ones while you're cooking, you know, stuff like that. They tend to use a lot of glass. They really enjoy you kind of bringing nature, bringing the outside into the house, making it part of it. So you're going to see big glass sliding patio doors, big glass windows, you know, picture frame windows, and just to kind of help reinforce that really big, open, and airy feel that a lot of people seem to like. And they typically have an attached garage and or attached carport, which is very common in pretty much any of the residential real estate you're going to find around here. You get some of the older homes that were built in the 30s, you'll see some detached garages, but the big majority of the stuff around here is going to have an attached garage. Either, you know, or unless you're like my parents with their old one, you know, they turn a garage into 2 bedrooms, but it was still an attached garage. Anyway. So that's at least one style that you're gonna run into a lot here. So at least around here, they're gonna tend to be on large lots. So within city limits, probably at least a half acre. You'll probably find a few that come in below that, but at least a half acre within city limits, and it's going to be in your older portions of town, not in any of your more new urban development. Or you're going to see them on, large, I guess you can kind of call them ranchettes. We're talking 10, 15, 20 acres out towards Weatherford, Justin, stuff like that. It's very, very common. And I guess one last thing before I go for this one is talk a little bit about oil and gas. We're in Texas, right? So I feel like we kind of need to cover it. In North Texas, there is a very productive, what we call formation in the biz, called the Barnett Shale. You've probably heard of it. Produces quite the metric shit ton of natural gas, which is good. It's a nice clean energy, way cleaner than oil, and we're sustainable with it within the United States. Some have called the United States the Saudi Arabia of natural gas, so that's a good thing. It helps us their energy dependence and stay away from those knuckleheads in the Middle East and all their fucked up views. But anyway, the reason why I bring it up is if you are buying a house in Texas, we'll call it the DFW area or Dallas-Fort Worth area, North Texas, the chances of you owning mineral rights on your land are very, very slim. They've probably been reserved and kept from somebody well before you ever moved here. Excuse me. So don't move here thinking you're going to be the Beverly Hillbillies and making all kinds of money on oil and gas, because it's probably not true. I'm not going to say no properties here have their mineral rights, but the chances are very slim. Fuck, I'm in the business and I don't own the mineral rights in my house. So don't be surprised. You can find out if you do, but it is not going to come up on your title report. Title companies are not searching for mineral rights. They're just trying to make sure that there's not any kind of mechanics liens or anything like that on the house that could affect the property before they'll give you a loan for it. Well, they are not looking for oil and gas stuff. If you want to know if you've got mineral rights, you need to hire somebody. You need to hire a landman. No, they're not cheap. But if you just gotta know, then that's, unless you know how to do the research yourself, that's really the only way to do it. So let's say you do own your mineral rights. So let's first establish that in real estate law, or kind of just in real estate, they have this concept called the bundle of sticks, where all of the rights that are within a tract of land as a stick. Well, and what they call fee simple absolute, which is just complete absolute ownership of the land, is the quote-unquote bundle of sticks. So of those bundles, you have your mineral rights. Furthermore, you can separate what they call the royalty rights. So the mineral rights is who owns the minerals underneath the ground. Royalty rights is basically who's entitled to the payments for production of those minerals. They can be separated. So in theory, and I've seen it happen, somebody can own the mineral rights but own none or only a portion of the royalty rights, which meaning some other random person is getting paid the royalties, but the oil and gas company is signing the lease with you. It happens. Again, another reason why you need to hire a landman. But there are a few ways that you can monetize those mineral rights if you so choose. Obviously, the first is find an oil and gas company that wants to lease them. So what they're going to do is they're going to pay you a bonus, and it's usually on a per acre basis. So let's just say, for example, they're paying you $500 an acre, and you have a half acre. They're going to pay you $250 for signing the contract. Within that, they're going to lay out what the terms of the royalties are. So they may come in and say, okay, well, if we find anything, we produce it, we're going to pay you 25% royalties, which means 25% of whatever comes out of your property goes to you. They base it on then what the prices are. So and again, get super nerded out. I'm giving a really high 10,000 foot view. So I'm not going to bore you with all the details, but royalties, you get a percentage of what is produced from your property. So you can monetize it in that, and that you get a bonus for signing the contract. And if they drill a well, and if it is a good well that produces, you will receive a monthly check. It may not be much, depends on how much property you got, depends on how good the well is. In North Texas, I've seen $30 a month. I've seen some stuff in some areas where some people were getting $500,000 a month. It all depends on how much land you got, how many wells are on it, and how well the wells are producing. All right. Let's say Christmas is coming up and you're fucking broke. It happens to all of us. You know, it's happened to me. You need to make some Christmas presents, and you just don't have any spare cash, but you had your mineral rights. Let's say it's producing your mineral rights, but it's only producing $60, $70 a month. Well, it's not doing you a whole lot of good. Maybe it's paying your cell phone bill. There are companies out there, their sole business is purchasing mineral rights. So they'll come up to you and say, hey, Kenny, we see you've got these minerals, they're producing. BP's got this well over here, and looks like it's a decent well, but you got a small ownership percentage. Tell you what, we'll buy your mineral rights from you right now. And by buying those mineral rights, what they're doing is they're purchasing it from you, and that you're no longer going to get any of those monthly payments. How much they are going to pay will vary greatly, really, depending on the company. But I would say typically, on average, a lot of companies tend to go 36 to 48 months. So, give you an example, if you're making $50 a month in royalties, take that $50, multiply it by 48, and that's a ballpark of about how much you can expect to get, more or less. Again, some are going to offer more, some are going to offer less, but that'll give you at least kind of the ballpark. If you don't know what you're doing, I fully recommend hiring somebody like myself or any other company to help you negotiate this, so you don't get screwed and you can kind of just really maximize on what you're going to get paid. But if you got any questions on any of that, reach out, let me know. I'll be more than happy to answer questions. By no means I'm saying hire me. I'm just saying if you don't know, hire somebody. Okay, you're not going to go out and you're not going out and buying a home without a real estate agent. You're not going out and doing all kinds of shit without an expert. I'm just saying this is no different. If you're kind of getting heavy into the oil and gas stuff when you move here for whatever reason, or if you're dealing with it with your property, or you're wanting to look at it as an investment, hire an expert, get their advice, call me or email me, message me, hey Kenny, what do I do in this situation, or can you recommend somebody or whatever. Fucking come on, I'll help you out. But I think that's probably going to be it today. It's show number 2. Hopefully you learned a little something. Again, follow me on social. Like I said, I'll be posting stuff besides just my random shenanigans, stuff that kind of coincides with the podcast, kind of helping them work together. Always looking forward to recommendations on what you guys want to hear, what you guys want to see. You can email me at gunterprop, that's gunterprop@gmail.com. Email me, tell me to fuck off, you hate the show, you love me, you like my blue eyes, or topic ideas, new restaurants that you want me to go check out, anything. I don't care what it is. Email me. Follow me on social. Tell your friends. And I guess outside of everything else, God bless Texas, motherfuckers.